My plan is lots of Eagles talk as they begin to get set for the Rams. My plan is to talk the Phillies' key factors entering October. But I saw an idiotic tweet literally 3 minutes ago. So we're going to talk timing of idiotic tweets as well from, I guess, my competitor. Trending in the AM, talking Eagles, Phillies, and more. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM. Right here on the STT Sports Network, live on YouTube and Twitter. You know the drill. Wherever you're watching live or on replay, please hit that like button. Please subscribe and share this out. I'd greatly appreciate it. Starting the show at 651 subscribers, less than 350 to get to that magical 1,000 numbers, but we only do that with your help. Hitting those buttons, it means a lot. It's free to support a local content creator. It's free to turn the dial down and turn YouTube up. It's free. No one else in life is free. So, guys, please hit those buttons. I'm Phil Stiefel, and we got lots to get into today. Eagles begin their preparation yesterday for the Rams, getting back a very key part of the offense into practice, a.k.a. Dallas Goedert. That is on the agenda today, getting ready for that Rams game, a very big game, honestly. The Phillies, while they lost last night, have 9 games left till the playoff run begins. What will be today's YouTube question? What will be the main key factor for the Phillies to return to the World Series? Y'all said my question was too negative yesterday. What would stop them? So today, what will be the main thing that gets them back to the World Series? Offense, starting pitching, bullpen, or coaching. Early on, starting pitching's leading by a mile at 60%. We'll see how the show goes on. So we're going to talk about that for sure. But of course, 3 minutes before I go live, I'm perusing Twitter real quick. And of course, another morning show, WIP. Their question isn't about the Phillies, what the Phillies need to do. Their question isn't about, anything specific about this playoff run that is about to begin for the Phillies. Their question of the day is Rob Thompson's job safe? Like, seriously. Well, that is actually a very valid question. What does he got to do to have his job be safe, etc.? And while that would be a fair question in June or May, long baseball season, not much to talk about. You are 9 days away from the playoffs. You are a major media market, and your question of the day for the morning show is talking about job security for a manager that's got this team with 91 wins with 9 to go. What the hell is wrong with you? Who's running that goddamn Twitter account over there at WIP? Like, it's not hard. I'm a one-man show here. I do this all by myself every single morning. I prep, I set up, I do all the back-end work. I do my own promotion. But even I come up with something fresh and different on a daily basis. If them, with their whole team and all the money they've got, come up with the dumbass questions on a daily basis. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of frustrating. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? Let's go Birds. That's right. Good morning to Duck. Good morning to Little G. Pixelated History Peanut. Anything short of a World Series win is Rob's ass. That's fine. But I think saying or using a question or a poll question like they are today at this point is bad timing. And we've talked about Rob Thompson's job security throughout the dead part of the season when you need things to talk about. But right now, you got to focus on the task at hand. The good and the bad. Hold on. Yes, it does say regardless of the outcome of the playoffs. It does. But you criticized me yesterday for having a negative connotation title or question. What could stop the Phillies from reaching, which it's not as negative as it sounds. It's just looking at the weaknesses of this team and what could stop them. Talking about a coach's job security 9 days before the playoffs begin is a little bit too negative for me. It's a little bit too off topic. It's a little bit too in the wrong mindset of what we should be focused on. We need a question of the day about question of the day. Okay, so the question of the day is about the question of the day, about the question of the day. Was the question of the day's question of the day's question of the day the right question to have today? Me not being negative voted no. See, I mean, I do think that Rob Thompson, an early exit, there's going to be that conversation. But I don't want to have that conversation today. I think there's more productive conversations about the Phillies and Eagles and other things in sports to have than talking about his job security when he's sitting at, 91 and 62? Where, I mean, you'd have to go undefeated the last 9 games, but, he's actually got a chance to win 100 games. Like, right now is not the time of the time to have a job security question. He's safe in your eyes, Rob Thompson. No matter what happens, he's safe. I get it. And I don't even want to give my opinion to an extent. So I think it's a weak question on their part. What's up, Mister? Bright and early today. We could really use Andrew Painter. Andrew Painter completed his season in AAA. I think it was like a 5.3 ERA through about 115 innings this year. Not a very good season for Andrew Painter in the minors. So I don't know if Andrew Painter could really help or not. Now, I do think the key factor is starting pitching as a big, big factor for this Phillies team. On the good side today, on the negative side of the question yesterday. Because I do have serious concerns about the starting pitching outside the top 2 guys. The lack of Zach Wheeler is just such a crazy thing. It changes everything. But Andrew Painter, I don't think Andrew Painter would provide any value right now with the way he's pitched. Are we concerned about Andrew Painter's future at all? He was untouchable. He's not a lock to make the roster next year. It's very interesting. What's up, Bruce? Good morning to you. We're kicking off with some Phillies topics. Their question of the day was highly questionable. It was definitely very questionable. That's why we hear with you instead of, absolutely. But that's why we need more people from over there to make that switch, to turn the dial down and turn the YouTube up. Because it's not complicated. Well, it's actually very complicated. Coming up with a topic every day to kick this show off with. Something different, fresh, every day. But I don't got a team of people with hundreds of thousands of dollars backing it. I do this solo on my own, Steven, and I still try to find, and I think I do, find a way to keep it fairly fresh every day on this show. Maybe I do need to be more negative to draw the viewers in. Negativity obviously sells. They should be talking about how the Phillies are going to get to the World Series or the Eagles versus Rams. Key points. Absolutely. There's plenty of things to talk about. Just on the Phillies alone. If you're talking about the Phillies starting rotation, we could talk about the bullpen, which I brought up yesterday. Are they overusing some of their key guys down the stretch here? Is getting the 1 seat in what's they could have the topic today. What is more important? Getting the 1 seat or getting some rest to key players? You want to have like a good debatable question? There it is. In fact, that'll be tomorrow's poll question. Number 1 seed or rest? What's more important? That'll be tomorrow's poll question on the show. See, I'm writing the information for them. Phillies need to rest a few players over these. I see this, and I always want home field for all my teams and all the playoff runs all the time, Duck. I do. But then you look at the Eagles, and we've been drawing a lot of parallels between Eagles and Phillies this week, right? The Eagles made it and won a Super Bowl last year at the 2 seed, not getting that home field advantage. It's doable. You got to get lucky. Yeah, the Lions had to lose in the NLDS or the NLDS in the division round of the playoffs. But it can happen. You can go on the road and win as long as it's not with the Mets. So rest is key, especially for the bullpen. Duran, Robertson, even though he's only been here for a little while. Strom, Kirkring, those guys need a break. Wouldn't mind Schwartz getting a break. Harper getting a break. I feel we should have Painter on the team now as he has skill like a superstar, but maybe just needs some adjustment. You know, there's an argument to be made that maybe his numbers would be better if you just throw him in the majors. Maybe he's just coasting down in AAA, but the numbers don't back him up to get called up. That's the problem. The talent is there. The results have not. And whose spot's he taking? Are you going to trust Andrew Painter starting in the playoffs at this point? You know, he hasn't started yet. I don't know. I feel the most important is that Rob and the coaches keep the team chemistry good and don't let it change if they will rest players or not play hard before the playoffs. Yeah, if you give them too much rest, they get rusty, which is fair. So I don't know. Maybe you pull guys, don't play them as many full games. I don't know. Tupper said they're going for the number 1 seed. Did he? Well, that's cool. And I get it, and I respect that. It's a huge accomplishment. You know, they do have a pretty easy final 2 series at home next week. So they can. But I don't know. Maybe a little rest is just as important. Reese Hoskins won't let the Phillies take the number 1 seed. Yeah. Reese Hoskins having a big moment in Citizens Bank Park in the NLCS, you know, would be something for the Brewers, right? Is he even playing? I thought he was hurt. Adam Miller is so ready. I think you've said that a few times over last week. And I get that, but what are you doing with Adam Miller right now? Are you really benching Bohm when he comes back this weekend? I mean, I'm not – this is not the part of the year where you bench established players for guys that have no major league experience. That's not how you don't do that a week before the playoffs start. I feel you were right about his ERA numbers are not good enough. It is a big risk. I mean, you want to give him a start, that's fine. If you want to, give a guy an extra day off before the playoffs, that's fine. But I'm not bringing him up to put him on the playoff roster or anything like that. I remind you that the Eagles rested starters the last game. They did. They did. And I don't remember what I talked about at that point. They got to the Super Bowl, the Eagles, by resting their players, taking the number 2 seed, and going right to the Super Bowl. They didn't skip a beat. Actually, I don't think they were perfectly that first playoff game. Was it a perfect offensive performance? I don't know. And Topper said the outfield group is going to rest in the next week. That's good. I think they deserve it. I think they earned it. My biggest concern rest-wise would be the bullpen. Maybe a touch of starting pitching. Maybe you go 5 innings instead of 7. Some of their older players, maybe a Bryce Harper day off, won't hurt. Before the Tommy John Painter had a 1 ERA, I thought that surgery made the arm stronger. And how long has it been since the surgery now? Normally by this point, he should have seen some, get back to form. It's a very slow return to form for Andrew Painter. Hopefully they do their homework. Phillies has 2 starting pitchers on L.A. to study now. Stop moving up to see more pitches may become a thing. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting series. So close to the playoffs. So close to the playoffs. Now, we were missing 2 key starters, which changes everything. Need to rest the arms. Absolutely agree. if you rest the bats too much, you risk the bats going cold. I don't think you risk the pitchers going too cold because they still get their work in on the side if you rest some of those starters or bullpen arms. I worry. Joan Duran, I feel like I know the numbers, but it feels like Joan Duran's pitching every night out of the pen for the Phillies. And to me, that's a concern. I feel Rob is not good, but I feel he made one good choice to take out Nick because he was playing bad. Nick Castellanos is actually barely, but slightly, since he's been getting benched, turned a slight corner. I don't know. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws there with Castellanos. But look, I'm going to leave my Rob Thompson feelings aside right now. While the other channels are calling Rob Thompson into question at this point, which I think is crazy, I'm going to leave my opinions out of it. Because we're right there on the precipice of the playoffs. We've got 9 games left. Now's not the time to worry about, is he a good coach or not? Is he going to have a job here or not next year? Right now, it's focusing on getting to the playoffs here and what this team needs to do to get there 100%. Excuse me. Working on getting the last of the snacks. I got the game written down here. Fins at Buffalo. Buffalo's an 11.5-point favorite on Thursday Night Football. I don't think if you would have asked me before the season started if the line would be 11.5, but it is. We'll see how this game goes. We'll make a prediction later in the show, Mad Chatter. Painter's stuff is fine. His secondary pitch command was off most of the year, but he's been coming around lately. But, yeah, so on the Andrew Painter, I'm not suggesting anything with Andrew Painter. I was just responding to somebody that said that we should bring him up now. I'm not for bringing up any prospect at this point. I think it's beyond that at this point. Thompson actually doing his job is such a huge and interesting thing. Yeah, absolutely. Like, Thompson has evolved. We've talked a lot about evolution of players and coaches on this show over the years. Rob Thompson has evolved. Good morning, Eagles fan. It's not all Phillies talk, by the way, Eagles fan. There's plenty of Eagles topics on the table. Dallas Goedert, back to practice. Jalen Hurts, with good little quotes. But mainly, when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, the conversation has to go around the offense and how predictable the offense is. I've got all the numbers, how the boxes are being stacked in certain formations, how predictable run to pass is right now. That is the number one thing going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. How to fix the predictability of the Eagles offense. Yeah, look, I have never shied away from my criticism of Rob Thompson. But I just feel that 2 weeks before the playoffs begin, I've got to put my personal feelings about the guy as a manager aside and just focus on the task at hand. Is how do we win this? How do we get back to the World Series and maybe win a championship? I've been waiting I've been waiting a long time to buy a new World Series championship t-shirt for the Phillies. Long time. So I'm just putting my feelings aside, my personal opinions aside, so that I can focus on the task at hand. I hope Goddard is good to go. I mean, practicing yesterday, limitedly, but he was practicing yesterday. That is, you don't practice on Wednesday if you're leaning towards not playing on Sunday. Already out there yesterday, that tells me that Dallas Goedert should be good to go. The only person that did not practice yesterday was Will Shipley. Tanner McKee was throwing a ball yesterday. Devontae Smith, he took that hard fall on his back. He was out there. Jalen Carter was out there. Everybody practiced. They even brought Kenyon Green back to the active roster. So everybody being back at practice, that's a good thing. The coordinator scares the hell out of me. Yeah, I know everybody likes to compare Kevin Patullo's play calling to Nick Sirianni and the struggles there in 21 and 23. But I worry about, Kevin Patullo's, personality handling it. He's very, very coach talk-esque. Says nothing. Just says, we'll be fine. It's almost like he went to the school of Andy Reid of, I just got to do a better job of putting my players in a better position to succeed. Like, it's just so bland, right? What's up, Mitchie Poo? How you doing this morning? Hope you're good. It's all about Phil. I don't need any more shirts, but I would like one that says World Series Champion 2025. I don't want to just wear my 2008 one. Ho Bader has been loosening up locker room since 2017. I think he gets Casty to buy in. Maybe it's an interesting way to look at it. I put on the thumbnail the it factor. Harrison Bader has that it factor, 1,000%. Patullo needs to get out of neutral and find first gear. I don't even think he needs to. I don't think there's anything wrong with. Hold on, how do I say this? It's not that the offense isn't in neutral. He puts it in gear, but he's running into a traffic jam every time. He's running into construction zones every time. Because when he puts it in gear, we all know when he's putting it in gear and whether he's going first or second gear. That's the thing. The problem isn't necessarily the philosophies. It's the designs. It's the timing. It's the before the start of the play that's the problem. My drip's not. I wear a T-shirt that says Foxes every day and shorts or jeans to paint on the weather. I feel lucky we have the Eagles and Phillies as they are both awesome. We are. We are in a lucky time in Philadelphia sports. Hell, even the Sixers are trying to reel me back in, Bruce, with pictures and videos of Joel Embiid practicing. Once I thought I was out, they pull me back in. It's a great time to be alive. Unless I forget the Union are a great team. Did Duck get his crap? What? That stuff. Yes, there we go. That 2008 shirt is getting a little tight, but no, it's not. It hasn't gotten tight actually. It's got a few holes in some of the. It's been washed a few too many times, so it's starting to fade a little bit. I know it's got a hole right along the collar here, so I can't even wear it out in public anymore. It's kind of depressing. It would be nice to win a World Series. I was a very young kid when I seen the Phillies win the World Series. 27 now. Hell, I don't even remember how well, they won in 2008. I was 28 at that time. I'm 44 now. So it's been 17 years since they've won a World Series. A very long time. So that would mean, yes, you were 10. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you can't ever forget the Union. The Union are a great soccer team. Now, I don't know enough about, the Union to know their record off the top of my head, or I don't know enough to know what their real chances are. But I support them. Poor Mrs. Phil. Yeah, you know what? There's nothing wrong with my drip, okay? I feel the Sixers could be good if Embiid can be healthy and is in a good mood to play. I like how you put, if he's in a good mood. Like, what person being paid $70 million a year to do their job has to get themselves in a good mood to do their job? Like, I'm not disagreeing with you on what you're saying. I'm just saying what you're saying, while true, is insane that it has to be said, right? The one huge difference between Wentz and Hurts, I felt more confident on third and long with 2017 Wentz than I did 2024 Hurts. But the bottom line is the bottom line. Look, Jalen Hurts was very honest yesterday after practice. Very critical of his play, okay? Very understanding that there are expectations for this Eagles offense, and they're fair. And the criticism is fair, he said. He's like, my job is to be the general of this offense, and we have not succeeded, except for in one key category, he said. While the expectations are fair, the criticism is fair, the bottom line is about winning, and they did win. So Jalen Hurts knows the offense is struggling, but he also knows that it's a lot easier. I think he said something, I'm paraphrasing this other line. It's a lot easier to be critical when you're still finding ways to win. Do you own a suit that is not Kelly Green? I do not own a Kelly Green suit. I got a bunch of suits. I haven't worn too many suits lately. But I used to have a huge collection. Working on a cruise ship, I had to wear a suit or tuxedo every single night, 7 days a week. So I have a lot of suits, and I used to have a lot of suits and tuxedos. Never a Kelly Green one, though. Union is tough to play with teams that can play a crap ton for Messi and others. Makes it hard for our Lunch Pail team to overcome, but we will overcome. Okay? They've been dabbling in first place and just out of first place a lot this year, the Philadelphia Union. For sure. They'll be in the playoffs. We'll see how it goes. Phil would watch soccer again if they got it. No, penalty kicks are great. Phil would watch soccer again if it wasn't on Apple TV every single night. I did look up the show somebody said the other day, Slow Horses, and yeah, whoever said it was right. It's an Apple TV show, so I'll never get to watch it. I ain't paying for Apple TV. Phil used to wear Kelly Green. What? All the analytic comments, and then Nooms drops one of those kind of comments in with all his very in-depth comments. You guys, could you imagine if someone was tuning into the chat for the first time, and this is the first comment they see? No wonder I'm at 651 and not 65,100 subscribers. Some of those kind of comments. Losing the cup in a shootout still hurts my heart. Yeah, I mean, maybe you shouldn't be able to win or lose the championship on it, something like that. I don't think I'm crazy for thinking that. But penalty kicks are kind of fun. Just like the penalty shot in hockey is pretty fun. Every great pitcher has a good changeup. Yeah. So you go analytic, you go low brow, and then you go really good analogy. Okay. You're all over the place with your style of comments today, and I love it. I love it. If someone super chat you a month of Apple TV, will you get it? No. There's no need to have any more. It's a very strong opinion of mine. I don't want to pay for any more streaming services. We used to cut the cord of cable to go to streaming services to save money. Now we almost have to cut the streaming service to save money to go back to cable. It's kind of ridiculous. Now they're talking about the Masters. I know you're not a golf guy, Mad Chatter, but the Masters, part of the first and second round is going to be on Amazon Prime now. God damn. Stop messing. Stop messing with my sports. They also got to make it easier to go from app to app on a smart TV. I'm on YouTube TV and I want to flip to Prime tonight for the football game. I got to close out of YouTube, switch over to Prime, log into Prime. Then if I want to switch back, I got to log out, go back and forth. Got to make it easier to go back and forth. I mean, it'll still be on the Masters website, Masters app, K1. But if you don't want to watch it on an app, it's going to be on Amazon Prime for 2 hours on Thursday and Friday. Even the Masters isn't adept to getting paid big money to give up some rights. Only boomers and people that make too much money have cable. Well, I do not. I have YouTube TV. But even YouTube TV is getting a little on the pricey side at this point. Actually, very pricey at this point. But anyway, back to the football, back to the baseball, okay? It actually I tend to just put on, the Masters app, the Masters website on my laptop or on my smart TV, and that's it. YouTube TV is great, except for the fact that it's just getting very, very expensive. That's the only downside, in my opinion, to YouTube TV. Back to the Eagles, back to the Phillies, okay? It's back to focusing on what's important. All right? Poll question of the day. What will be the main key factor for the Phillies to return to the World Series? Offense, 29% so far. Starting pitching, 36%. Bullpen, 21%. Coaching, 14%. Okay? So get your vote in. Get your comments in. Eagles are starting preparation for the Rams. And they know there's things that they've got to work on. Getting Dallas Goedert back at practice is a huge deal. Devontae Smith not missing time after his hard fall. Huge deal. Finding ways to get A.J. Brown open. Get Saquon Barkley free. Get this offense humming. Has to be the key idea, key topic, key theory at practice this week for the Eagles. The Rams have been embarrassed now twice last year by the Eagles. The Rams when the schedule came out, circled this game immediately. This is their Super Bowl, so to speak. You're not going to beat the Rams the way you played the Chiefs last week. You're not going to beat the Rams with 101 passing yards and barely 200 total offensive yards. You got to figure this offense out. These guys are open. Hurts just isn't pulling the trigger. I disagree. I think there's one or two moments that I may have seen an open receiver, but a lot of the highlight or the, what is it called? The all 22s that I'm seeing, a lot of these plays, these receivers are not being open. They're running two wide receivers into three defensive backs. They're running two wide receivers on this side into three defensive backs. There's no separation in the routes. So show me where these wide receivers are open and he's not pulling the trigger regularly. 3.5 point spread. I'm still torn on how I feel about this game. The wide receivers are noting being schemed open, or are not being schemed open. They aren't being given secondary routes or what to do if they are not open at the end of the route. It's obvious, and other teams know it. I just think it's so predictable, you know? When you're in shotgun, it's going to be a pass 80% of the time. When they line up in pistol or under center, they last week, between all the pistol and under center formations, only one pass. The first play of the game. Where's the play action? When there's a blitz? Where's the hot route on blitzes? Things that are not happening right now. And that's on Kevin Patullo and Jalen Hurts to an extent. So what week will Hurts get to 300 passing yards for the season? Maybe this week. In a game? Maybe never. Who knows? Rams are definitely better than KC, and they were last year as well. If the Rams win by 1, but the offense looks great, what would anyone have to talk about? See, I hate that. And I know this is not what you're saying, but it leads me to think that that's going to be a topic on the radio, on WIP. If the Eagles lose, but put up 300 passing yards, are you okay with that? Because that's dangerously close philosophy-wise to saying it's okay, it's an acceptable loss, that it's acceptable scheduled loss. It's dangerously close to making an excuse for losing. I guarantee you, if the Eagles lose, but Jalen Hurts throws for 300 yards, that Jalen Hurts will not be happy. Guarantee that he won't find it acceptable. It's an absolute tough game. 100% a tough game for the Eagles. The Rams are a good football team. Now, the Rams pose a threat with the wide receivers, obviously. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. Kyron Williams hasn't done much yet in the running game for them, even though they gave him a pretty big contract extension. I mean, the Rams are 2-0, but they only put up 14 against the Texans. So their defense shut them down. The Titans, they had a good game, but the Titans stink. They have a good defense. Matthew Stafford is a statue back there. Been sacked 4 times through 2 games. The Rams' defense maybe scarier than the Rams' offense to an extent. Play action off an under center formation would be the next level of Hurts' evolution. And they did it a few times late last year. Why they haven't done it yet this year, I don't know. I saw that he did it. I watched the first 2 minutes of it. Then I got sidetracked and haven't gone back to it yet. But I will. Good for him. Good for him getting Tyrese Maxey. Bills wearing 90 red helmet. 1 game at end. Is Eagles game in Buffalo? Maybe. Yeah, Eagles game is in Buffalo. What's up, Philly? Hello. The Phillies are already getting ready for the playoffs for getting how to hit the ball. I mean, we're not going to overreact to 1 loss last night. They took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. I'm okay with that, okay? I'm not worried. Plus, no offense, my ass was asleep at 10:15 last night. I was not up watching that game last night. So I'm not going to comment on last night's game too much because I hate box score recapping a game. They stunk last night, plain and simple, offensively speaking. But overall, the offense has been pretty solid. So I'm not too concerned about that. You can make a claim that the offense is your biggest concern entering the playoffs, and the offense can probably be what carries this team to another World Series appearance, for sure. I know, man. Look, I'm trying to keep the positivity today, okay? I got a big smack of negativity from social media right before the show. So I'm trying to keep the positivity. I could pretty much read through most typos. I got you, my man. I read enough comments on a daily basis. I understand the typos for the most part, almost always. And the offense getting hot or cold, is one of my questions. Like, what do you do? Do you rest guys here? Do you go for the 1 seed? What do you do? And I worry if they rest the offense too much, they could go cold before getting to the playoffs. Now look at that. We're up to 652 subscribers. We gained 1 today. We were actually at 652. Then we lost 1, so we gained it back. We're at 12 likes, 14 votes on the poll. Guys, if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, and share, please. Yeah, pretty much. Suck it. Yep. Little DX. Boop, like that, right? That's what you got to do, right? Tell social media to, yeah. Anyway, Eagles, Phillies. The Eagles offense. 17 gets me to 1,000. Is that just magically going to happen? Look, your 17 you want me to get by beginning of next week, we'll be there. The way we're growing now, it used to go 1 or 2 a week, then 4 or 5 a week. Now we're at like 2 or 3 a day. We're at like 15, 20 a week. No, it's booming. I think the issue with LA is the O-line, so it may be an issue. I think the Rams pose the type of threat that we are the more talented team, but are we playing like the more talented team? I almost worry about our offense against their defense. Like, I know you Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, Matthew Stafford, a Hall of Famer maybe, probably, most likely. I think our defense can shut the Rams offense down. Cooper Dejean, like everyone's like, Puka Nacua is going to eat Adoree Jackson up. I watched a highlight video documenting every route that Puka Nacua ran last week, okay, against the Titans. Puka Nacua lined up in the slot almost every single time, or was in motion into the slot almost every single play, which tells me that Puka will be going up against Cooper Dejean a lot, not Adoree Jackson, which leaves Quinion Mitchell on Devontae Adams, which means Adoree Jackson is not the liability we think in the game, right? I don't worry about stopping Kyron Williams. Our defensive ends and tackles will get pressure on Matthew Stafford. I think we can hold the Rams to 2 or 3 scores maximum. It's, can the offense get going? Can they protect Hurts from Jarrett Verse and company, who Jarrett Verse doesn't even have a sack yet on the season? I think I saw. We better not be burned by Tutu Atwell again. It's always somebody, right? Hope the Phillies do prove me wrong. Hope the Phillies do. Yeah, I hope so too. I've been saying that all year. I have Mayfield have a better chance of winning MVP, in my opinion, 21 odds. Look, I hope I'm wrong about the Phillies. I am. I am. Change nothing and play as you always do for the Phillies. Baseball players are all about consistency. Yeah, like, again, Big Al, I think I lean in this direction, except with the bullpen. I would like to see the bullpen usage get spread out a little bit more over the final week. I know he hasn't pitched every day, but I feel like Joan Duran is out there every single day. I don't want him to be burned out Come on. I guess I still got a scar of burned out Craig Kimbrell. So I don't want him burned out. Puka versus Coop. Coop will be the winner. Yeah. I think everybody keeps, including me on Monday morning, was saying Puka's going to eat Adoree up. But then when you watch it and you really break it down, it's going to be Cooper on Puka, not the other way around. O-line will be our difference. I worry about the Eagles' offensive line. They are not performing at the level that they have in the past, especially in past. Landon Dickerson is not even close to 100% at this point. I mean, he's toughing it out. He's at 80%. He's better than most. We'll see. I still like the Eagles this week. Rams just too small on defense. They're a good defensive team, though. So they're too small on defense. I think they're a good defense, Philly MM. The problem is the Eagles' offense has not been good. Plus, we've embarrassed them twice last year. I mean, the regular season game, putting up 255 rushing yards? They're pissed. And we beat them in the playoffs, go on to win the Super Bowl. They're not happy. So it's going to be interesting. It's this target thing. The Eagles' offense needs to be prepared. The Eagles' offense has to be different. Saw the stats on the Eagles and how the defenses have stacked the box through 2 weeks. Through 2 weeks, the Eagles have faced a stacked box, 7 or more players on the defense up front, 85% of the time. Well, that's Saquon. Saquon's faced it, the heavy box, 85% of his runs so far, compared to 76% last year, or 76% in his career. Because they know what's coming before it comes. Again, eerily similar to 2023. People knowing what's coming before it comes. I get it. Hopefully that's not the case for long. Rams have a good set of reverses and trick plays that our ends will need to be ready for. Hopefully Darius will be out there for those plays. So there's two things there, okay? Sean McVay does have reverses and trick plays and stuff like that. The problem is they run pre-snap motion. At least they used to. I don't know if they do this year or not. They run pre-snap motion more than any team in the NFL. Sean McVay runs a lot of this dipsy-doos here and there, everybody moving all around. But 9 times out of 10, it's a very basic play. But all the moving around creates confusion. Now, we've seen it enough recently that you would think Vic Fangio has his team disciplined enough to recognize it when it's a trick player, and most of the time not. So that's how I feel. Like, Sean McVay, although he's only got the 1 Super Bowl, and it was a while ago, well, not that long ago, he is a very, very smart, good head coach. There's just as much of a battle between Puka and Coop as there's a battle between Sean and Nick. LA Rams shouldn't be happy. They have a legit chip on their shoulder. It'll be a nail-biter. I mean, yeah, the Chiefs had a circle because we beat them in the Super Bowl. Yes, the Broncos have a circle because we're the champs. Yes, the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Lions, all these teams have us circled. But when you really look at the schedule, the team that really has this game scheduled, or on the schedule circled, it's the Rams, without a doubt. Once A.J. Brown has his acceleration back, that 8-man in the box may go back down. I mean, I think a little bit too much is made of that. I think he's got enough of his acceleration back. He beat them on the first play of the game. Unfortunately, the pass protection caused that to be a problem. I'm pretty sure the Eagles dominate the Rams since the game with them in the early 2000, one of the championship game so they only beat us I don't know the record overall. But yeah, look. I mean, we pretty much embarrassed the Rams twice last year. They don't want that to happen again. Not at all. Smith may be looked at as a pass rusher, but he is a good overall defensive end. Oh, DariusSmith. Yeah, absolutely. I don't deny that. And DariusSmith played, 30-some% of the snaps? He played all those snaps very well last week. And think about it this way. It was his first week. First week with the Eagles defense. We dominated them even when they were in St. Louis. It's going back too far. McVay uses motion at the pre-snap well, but he also schemes his players open. Absolutely. We kind of did that last year, schemed our guys open when necessary. Look, McVay is a great offensive mind. There's no doubting McVay's talents as an offensive guru, as a coach, period. But the Eagles have to be disciplined at it. And I think the Eagles defense is good enough, and enough of these guys have seen it to not fall. I remember in 2020, there was a game against the Rams. September 2020, maybe? Is it September 2020? That we played them early in the season and we lost to them. It was either 2020 or 2021. And I remember doing a post-game show for another network. And just doing the post-game show, I was at the beach when it happened. I remember just watching it and then doing the post-game show and being like, they ran all this, woo, but all they did was run simple plays. And the Eagles weren't disciplined enough to figure it out. I really think it was 2020. But anyway, it's a beatable offense with our defense. Is our offense capable of beating their defense? I really think that's what it comes down to. The Eagles load it. I see 4 losses on the schedule max. I can easily see them going 15-2. A lot of them losing originally last week. And that didn't happen. Very hard to go 3-0 in the NFL. It's very hard to go 15-2 overall. I had 12-5. I'm going to stick to it. But, yeah, look. They're loaded. Records are yesterday's news. This is a new team, and that means we have never seen this team in this form. And I think that's fair. All you could do is use the past to help gather information on what this team might be. I don't like to go to work. You can want something does not mean it's going to happen. That's true. That's true. I don't want to go to work either. After 2 weeks of knocking the rust off, I feel the offense is getting ready to unleash this week at home. I hope so, Steven. I hope so. I think so. You also you want to talk about keys to the game. I mean, we'll talk about them more detailed tomorrow, but West Coast teams going to the East Coast, playing a 1 o'clock game favors the East Coast team. If it was a 4 o'clock game or an 8 o'clock game, that's different. But West Coast, East Coast, 1 p.m. games favor the home team more often than not. So we got that in our advantage too. But there's rust. There's confusion. There's things that got to be worked out. Phil has been on so many other networks that I have been. Look, I like to flip-flop. I like to bounce around. I like to spread my wings and fly. And all those flights I took, okay, is how we got to the STT Sports Network, K1. Because of all the other work, I had the idea to do this. Maybe I'll join another network. Who knows? You never know what's going on in my mind. We all know Green Bay or the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. I think that's too quick to write off Detroit. I think that's too quick to write off Washington. I think that's too quick to write off. That's about it. But that's about it. I'm just glad LA's center forgot to double Jalen Carter on that last defensive play against the Rams. Yeah, look. I remember watching that game live and being like, Jalen Carter needs to make a play right now or it's over. And Jalen Carter made a play on cue like that. But that's what great players do, right, Nooms? You can't say LA center forgot. How about you say Jalen Carter made the play when it mattered most? We know the Lions and 49ers not the same. See, I can say that about the 49ers. I didn't even have the 49ers in the playoffs in my preseason predictions. The Lions are still a damn fine football team. Maybe even better. Second to last play. Yeah. Phil is a social media butterfly. I don't know about that. I'm a social media degenerate, maybe. None of those other networks exist anymore. Some of them do. Only one of them, maybe two of them. Actually, maybe three of them. I forgot I worked for them too. So let's see. That one. Let's go through it. Obviously, I was one of the founding members of AAT Birds. That still exists. While I was there, I was working for the Athletes Hub as well, briefly as a writer / semi-show contributor. I don't think they exist. I worked for briefly Heat Ratio as a contributor. He's rebranded that so many times, I don't even know what it's called anymore. Obviously, DSM is still around, and I helped them get that off their feet. Obviously, PSN, they're still around. Do they do shows? Does Liam do shows anymore? I don't even know. Obviously, EOP, not around. So now I'm at, six different networks that I'm for sure that I was a part of? Wow, that's a lot. Wish them all didn't exist. Why would you want to block the best player on somebody's defense? I don't know. Why would you? I do know they still exist, obviously. I just don't know if they have as active as a YouTube page as they used to, or at least Liam. I don't know. Watch the play again. The center wound up blocking no one. It was looking at Ojomo. It could be a lot of things. I don't know. Really, I haven't seen Liam. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. Obviously, I still see their articles. I still see Tim. They do a baseball show regularly now. Obviously, Flipping the Birds is still a great football podcast. So, yeah. No, I'm only the kiss of death to one, for sure. Okay? Only one for sure. Okay? The Athletes Hub was a bunch of college kids that just all graduated, stopped doing it. The others are all still around. And the other one, I'll say HRS. That's a complicated story right there. Not for on air. The Grim Reaper. I got my Grim Reaper on my arm. You know, there's a reason. There's a reason why he's there, guys. It's almost the top of the hour. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. Please share this out. Please subscribe. I'm really off on my lining with my hands here today. Please hit those buttons. Means a lot. Continue voting on the poll question of the day as well. I'm surprised the over-under for tonight's game only 50. Josh Allen probably going to put up 40 points on that Miami defense. Yeah, so we got the Dolphins who are in complete free fall already. If the Bills are favored by 11.5, it's a Thursday night game, which is like a mini bye for Thursday night teams. Here's my question on tonight's football game. If the Buffalo Bills cover the 11.5 points, which means they blow out the Dolphins, will the Dolphins fire McDaniels tomorrow? Because then you've got a few extra days to get a new coach to take over. The Dolphins are a complete and total utter train wreck. There's the kiss of death. I predicted them to make the playoffs. Shows how much I know, right? I think the Bills cover the 11.5 point spread. I didn't know what the over-under was, but the Dolphins offense just isn't moving. The Dolphins defense is terrible. Is Tua healthy? I don't even know. I'm going to go the Bills cover the 11.5 tonight. I'm going to go the Bills win this game 41-20. And some of those 20 points come in mop-up duty. My dream is Miami get rid of him and he comes to Philly, but why would you want Mike McDaniels in Philly? I seen a whole, hold on, can we just, this is something that's been triggering me on Twitter the last 2 or 3 days, Philly MM. Do you follow me on Twitter? How much this pisses me off? Everyone is already ready to give up on Kevin Patullo for Mike McDaniels, a failure of a head coach, a dope, a nitwit. I don't want him anywhere near Philly's chemistry. Plus, him and Vic Fangio hate each other from Vic Fangio's time working for him in Miami. I want nothing to do with McDaniels. Hold on, I'm going to skip some comments. What is he 10 times better than what we got? What has he ever done? No. I would take Brian Johnson back before I would take Mike McDaniels. Zero chance. I want him in Philly. Nobody likes him. The players don't play for him. Vic Fangio don't like him. No. The Dolphins are getting what they deserve. Forrest is You know, they're going to fire him. They're going to call Brian Flores. Yo, you want your old job back? Brian Flores will be like, boop, click, hang up. Shout out to Philly. Hey, yeah, that's right. All my chain shares already by. Yeah, look, they're so bad. Everyone thought it was Vic Fangio's problem, or was the problem in Miami. Clearly, that's not the case. This is how we do it, right? The subscriber numbers got to go up. I still have faith in the Eagles, but this play calling just not it. And yes, it's not been good, the play calling, through 2 games. Okay? That's why, realistically speaking, McDaniels does not get fired because it'll be 3 games. You don't make coaching changes 2, 3, 4 weeks into a season. You just don't do that. Have you seen Sean McVay's wife? Yeah, I have. Yes, I have. I do know. Yeah. As Mr. Marty Bowen would say, that's one fine, healthy broad right there. He was my English teacher in high school. That would be too awkward to have Vic and Mike in the same. I mean, if you think, having Darius Slay and Matt Patricia in the same locker room was awkward, can you imagine Vic and Mike in the same locker room? Oh my God. Vic would never leave his little booth up top. I don't get why the Eagles refuse to have hot routes and slants used. So some of this they do have. The hot routes is something that they definitely don't have, or have not been calling, or have not been designed up. And yes, they do not use the middle of the field. And obviously having Dallas Goedert not out there affects that, because Greg Cacatera stinks, and the rest of the tight ends aren't any good either. So I'd like to see the difference. How many times they use the middle with Dallas Goedert week 1 versus not without Dallas Goedert week 2. Just routes. You look at A.J. Brown's route tree from this past week. It was pathetic. So there are problems, but I'm not packing it in after 2 games, especially for Mike McDaniels of all people. That's the last person I'd pack it in for. AJ can literally kill people on the slants. Well, there's also this, okay, obviously, okay? Where's my A.J. Brown stats here? He thrives in man coverage, right? Last year, he faced man coverage on 27% of his routes run, all right? So far this year, small sample size, he has only faced man coverage 10% of the time. There's a book on how to stop the Eagles. Now it's up to the Eagles to figure out how to pivot. Stack the box against Saquon, stack the box in certain formations, and play a zone coverage on A.J. Brown. They have had to keep in max protection a number of times. They have. Vic and Mike being coordinators on the same team would be like if Embiid and Siakam played together in Philly. I was gonna say I thought you were gonna say Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns, but I guess Siakam works too. Hurts is the luckiest guy in ball. Well, yeah, because he's supremely talented, supremely smart, good looking. He's got a hot wife, hot agent. He's lucky. He's got everything a man wants. The Birds played way much more man than they did zone last week. Do the country men still dislike each other? Who? What? Look, Mike McDaniels just ain't happening. And it just drives me nuts. It's just insane. No offense, Philly. All opinions matter. I just strongly, strongly disagree with that opinion. You switch. If just say, in theory, 8 weeks from now, the offense is still not moving, and we need to make a change at offense coordinator. What you're going to do is you're going to promote somebody from within to make the play caller. He'll still be the offensive coordinator, but the quarterback coach or the passing game coordinator will call the plays. That's what you do. Super Bowl teams, you don't go making, because Mike McDaniels runs a different style of offense, you'd be changing the communication with the coordinator and the quarterback again for Jalen Hurts. That is such a panic move. Maybe you bring in an advisor. Maybe you tell somebody else to call the plays. But you're not overhauling everything you worked for in the offseason 2 weeks into the season. Siakam and JoJo, yep. Cat is better one because he's complete goof. I just think of Cat because he chokes out. He tried to choke out Embiid that one time, but then Ben Simmons put him in a chokehold, and Karl-Anthony Towns tapped out. I feel like bringing Ben Simmons back to six. You could have said Ben Simmons too. They just need to let Jalen call all his plays. The play calling from the coach so this is interesting because it goes to something I've talked about a lot so far already through 2 weeks. Is that I don't know if I necessarily need him to call the plays, but he's audibled out. Maybe not at all. Normally Jalen Hurts has the ability to call audibles the last couple of years, and last year he did it a lot. Kellen Moore trusted him. Here's 3 plays. You pick which one. I don't see that yet this year. I also, and I've said it a lot, the offense is not moving. The key to fixing a struggling offense is to go up tempo, no huddle. We have not seen one stretch of plays, no huddle. Jalen Hurts thrives. This offensive line and talent thrive in that up-tempo style. Yet they haven't done it yet. And if I had a chance to ask Kevin Patullo a question, I would ask that. Nobody asked him that, but I would ask him that. Maybe this promoting from within thing ain't working well for the Birds. Again, pardon me for saying 2 weeks is too early to tell. We should have just bring Bill Belichick in. No. Yeah, Grohl and Johnson. Look, I think there was different issues and reasons for between both of them. I think the Brian Johnson promotion wasn't because of what they thought he could be. Brian Johnson was because of the supposed connection between Jalen Hurts and Johnson dating back to high school. And they thought that would make a good pairing. But it obviously did not. I think they just misplaced their faith on that relationship versus what's the best option offensively speaking. I feel like you can find a random high school football coach that would probably do a better job with play calling. Man, the hate for Kevin Patullo. It's possible you might be right, MM. Very possible. But I ain't going to make that decision through 2 weeks. Who misses who more? The Eagles offense missing more play calling or more misses Philly more than after. Yeah, who regrets their decision more? I'm sure Kellen Moore doesn't mind the paycheck bump that he's got down there in New Orleans. I'm sure he's getting some good gumbo and jambalaya on a daily basis down there, instead of the Philly cheesesteaks and soft pretzels up here. Well, man, I don't know. I really wanted them to find a way, Steven, to keep Kellen Moore, for sure. And I knew once he left, I knew Kevin Patullo was probably the option. All right? But 2 weeks. Which you always say the preseason is more important than I give it credit for, with no preseason. There's going to be plus an extremely difficult start to the schedule. I don't want Patullo fired. I want to get him help to be better. And I think if this keeps on, if week 5, week 6, we're still seeing this lack of cohesiveness between the offense, this stalled offensive play calling style, you will see some help happen. Whether it's someone already in the house takes over play calling, whether they bring in Andy Reid used to do this all the time. I think it happened twice. I'll bring Marty Morningwig in as a passing game consultant or whatever. Give him some title and have him there to help out. I don't know who that would be now. Who would be the Marty Morningwig nowadays that's out there? What's Doug Peterson doing right now? That would be something right there. Chip Kelly's already got a job. Anyway, that's what'll happen. But they're not gonna make those decisions. They might not even make it 5 weeks into the season. Again, we got the Rams, we got the Broncos. The Bucs, we've got lots of hard games right out of the gate. Then we get to the easy part of the schedule. And then we will see. I want to be a fly on the room in the offensive meeting room where Sirianni, Patullo, and Hurts are sitting down designing the game plan for this week. And what does Jalen Hurts actually have to say? I don't care what Nick says or Kevin says. I want to know what Jalen says in that situation, in a closed-door situation where there's no reporters. They say, yo, this is what we got to do. The Eagles offense just need to talk to him and have a meeting like they did last year with the head coach when they decided they wanted. That's a great point, Billy. And that was but that wasn't week 1 or week 2. That was later into the season. And yes, the whole entire offensive line marched in with Napoleon to, Nick Sirianni's office and said, hand the ball off more. Let's do this. Maybe A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts have to march into an office and say, we need to run these kind of plays. And I disagree. Jalen Hurts is not holding onto the ball too long. If he holds onto the ball too long, then people complain, why isn't he scrambling away from the sacks? I think I can count on half a hand the amount of plays so far through 2 weeks that he could have pulled the trigger on an open receiver. Maybe 3 times in 2 games. First play of the game. You got A.J. Brown wide open down the field. Problem is your pass blocking stunk, and he got forced out of the pocket 2.1 seconds into the play. And then he fumbled, and that's another whole subject. There's a lot more to it than Hurts just holding onto the ball too long, in my opinion. The type of play calling Eagles can't make it to the Super Bowl, Green Bay will beat us. Exactly, but it's an ever-evolving situation, in my opinion. You still got the Super Bowl MVP, a top 3 wide receiver, a top 10 wide receiver, and the top running back in all of football with one of the top 3 offensive lines in all of football. Okay? Not worried about it 2 weeks in. 2.1 seconds is more than enough time to get rid of the ball. Is it? When you've got a play call. So here's the thing. I know everybody loves I forget what, ADOT. It's a new stat that everybody loves. Is that the one? Average depth of target. How far out is the target? Some of these plays that he's holding onto the ball only 2 seconds. When you've got 4 routes that all take 5 seconds to develop, called. When you don't have one quick route. You want to have 3 guys run 14 yards down the field and run routes? Sure, but you better have somebody short running a quick little outlet pass when the pass protection runs. But you look at these plays, there's 1 or 2 plays I remember where you had 4 guys in running routes. All 4 of them were 15 yards down the field, and there was no one else there to pass the ball to when the pass protection broke down. So you got to look at all the plays. Do you follow some of these guys that do all 22s? You get to see. I don't really care about all 22s. I'm not doing it. But what I do care about, it does give me information on what the kind of plays that are being called. You got way too many long developing plays with no quick answer for certain situations. People who start hot early get cold late. I'd rather get hot when it becomes crunch time. We all know we're better. And yeah, Versace, and look, Hurts was very critical of himself yesterday. Very critical of his play. But he said, despite all of that, and the expectations being fair, at least they got the job done and still won the football game, which is so important to remember. Guys, we are complaining about an Eagles offense. We are complaining about play calling. We are defending Super Bowl champions, and we are 2-0. So I think it could be so much worse than it currently is. Let's remember that, okay? We're acting like the Eagles are 0-2 right now. The Eagles are 2-0. And it is not sustainable the way they've played so far. I get that because I don't think it is sustainable. But I also don't think it's time to pull the plug like that. And Vercetti, the answer to that, like, I agree with you. A win's a win. I'll take it, right? The problem is people will say, and I remember doing this show in 2023. We joked about network. What network? Was I still on PSN in 23? I guess, maybe. I don't know when I switched from PSN to EOP. That I kept being told, but they're ugly wins. And ugly wins don't count because eventually ugly wins become ugly losses. And guess what? In 2023, a lot of ugly wins turned into ugly losses late in the season. And I understand that. Okay? And I understand that philosophy. The problem is, if we're having ugly wins in week 10 against the Giants or whoever, all right, then we could talk about it. But an ugly win in week 2 against a dynasty. I think a lot of people forget that ugly win on Sunday was against the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, and company. Steve Spagnuolo. How many of those guys are going to be Hall of Famers on the first ballot? It's not like we won a game with ugly stats against the Tennessee Titans or the New Orleans Saints. It's a team considered the latest dynasty in football. And we beat them. A win's a win. That's all that matters when you're talking in this situation. You got to take the whole bit of context, not just a portion of it. We all want blowouts and to dominate. This is not a video game. It's real life. Absolutely agree with you on that. It is real life. And real life tells me not to panic. Not to panic one bit at this point. There's no reason to. Now again, if we were having the same conversation 6 weeks from now, sure, damn straight I'll be panicking. But right now, I'm not. Fans on social media and YouTube need to keep bitching about this. Feel like somebody's seen a lot of the comment about the Eagles not wanting to run the ball last season, early in the season. Fans on social media and YouTube need to keep bitching about this. Feel like somebody's seen, yeah, look, I get it. They didn't want to run the ball early. They forced the hand to run the ball by the offensive line making those statements. Dude, the offense was brutal to start the season last year. We were 2-2 going to the bye. People were saying, fire Nick Sirianni. People were complaining about everything 4 weeks into the season last year. And guess what? We won the damn Super Bowl, I think, unless that was a dream. We faced this situation last year, exactly. And everybody panicked, and I told them to relax. No one said, Phil, you were right. But, here we are. They need the bye to take the step back. Unfortunately, the bye is not until week 8 or 9 this year. So they got to go a little longer this year till they get to that bye. The bye was perfect last year. Perfect critical moment of the season. Didn't like the early bye, but it worked out in our favor. The amount of rushed hate, rushed criticism for the defending Super Bowl champions, it's kind of mind-boggling to me at this point. There's no reason whatsoever to be worried about this team right now. If we keep making a big deal out of it, they will change it. Athletes do pay attention. I get what you're trying to say. If we keep making a big deal about it, the athletes will hear, the athletes will speak up because they hear us speaking up. I got you on your theory or your philosophy on that. And I appreciate that. And I get it, what you're trying to say. But I'm not ready to panic and change play call. Like, I don't think if we sit here and say we need Mike McDaniels to be the play caller, that's going to make the players stand up. No. Saying they got to mix up the play calls a little bit. Jalen saying you got to give me a hot route underneath. Saquon saying you got to do something to free up the box for me to get some runs. Those things can be said. And maybe they will. As long as we get together by October, which I think we will start clicking and dominating, I'm not concerned if we don't get it together till December. This team's too talented not to make the playoffs. So despite all, we'll be fine come the end of the year. Not worried one bit at all. There's zero worry or doubt in my mind about this team. Guys, we got about 10, 15 minutes left. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button, subscribe button, that share button. Vote on our poll question of the day. What will be the main factor for the Phillies to return to the World Series? Offense is winning the poll right now, 38%. Starting pitching is down to 31%. Bullpen, 19%. Coaching, 12%. No one thinks coaching will lead us to the World Series. 5 wide receiver sets, baby. Have we seen that yet? I don't think so. I don't think we've seen that yet this year. We did see Darius Cooper on the field a few times, a couple plays, more in blocking situations. He did get a little into a little scrum with someone after a play. But yeah, it's just too predictable, too vanilla. It seems like we're running a preseason offense still. We're very talented, and I think we're going to get it together soon. Probably playing possum. I don't think they're playing possum, so to speak. What I think is they're still trying to work the kinks out. Every year is different. Every offense, every year has a different identity. They're still trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. Still working on the communication between Hurts and Patullo, getting plays in on a certain time. They're just getting their feel. Plus, they've played some tough games early in the season. Again, you come to me in 6 weeks, and everything is still playing out the way it is, then we'll have a problem. But right now, I'm going to stay hopeful and positive that this team will figure it out. And the Rams this week. If the Rams go out there and smoke us this week, guess what? It's because they're giving us their best shot. The Rams literally could care less about any of their division games. All they care about is winning this football game because of the way we handled them last year. Not once, but twice. They think they got robbed to play it in the Super Bowl. We embarrassed them early in the season with the Saquon running a record running game. Was it 250, 255 yards? I know he had 270-plus yard runs in that game. The Rams hate the Eagles. To the Eagles, this is just another game on our schedule. To the Rams, this is everything. One smoking doesn't matter. It doesn't. Offensively, or in our favor or not. Eagles fans, I think this Eagles team, despite it being different, has earned the right for us to be patient with them. Their success, not just winning the Super Bowl last year, but their success, big picture over the last 4 years, they deserve our patience. They deserve for us not to be jumping the gun 2 weeks into a season. They deserve to be given a little breathing room. Now, we're going to criticize what we criticize. I get it. But let's not overreact. Let's not make drastic changes in 2 weeks in. Let's have faith that this team is going to get the job done. How many times did Andy Reid or Bill Belichick start a season 1-2 or 2-2 or 2-3? It happens. Many times in the Andy Reid era, we were 2-2 right out of the gate. And there we are, winning another division and getting to a championship game. We got to shut up and relax. Give them time. It's better to heat up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's not overreact, says the guy who coined. I don't think I coined Overreaction Monday. I don't think that was some groundbreaking creation of mine. Okay? Yes, I promote it every week, but I don't know. You just love to call me out. What? Do you only watch this show to come in here and criticize me? You know I love you. But maybe on a Monday we get smoked by the Rams. Maybe on Monday I'll overreact. But by Thursday, I'll be telling y'all to relax. Overreaction Monday and overreacting in the moment, in the heat of the battle, I get it. But all week long, it's not necessary. Not necessary at all. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. And the floor is yours. You got about 10 minutes left in the show, not even 10 minutes. Any final thoughts, any final opinions? Just checking my note pages here. Did I miss anything? Oh, by the way, I will say this. If you guys haven't heard Jordan Mailata's comments yesterday about the Adam Schefter stuff, about the tush push, Jordan Mailata, and I quote, I don't give a fuck what Schefter says. Pardon my language, pardon my French, but I don't give a fuck. That is exactly what Jordan Mailata said yesterday. I love Jordan Mailata. Jordan Mailata is just perfect for the city of Philadelphia. Imagine thinking you got robbed of a Super Bowl in 2 games, gave up like 350 yards to one. Exactly. Maybe we need a calm your. There we go. That'll be what we do. Maybe that's a short. So maybe I'll do shorts. My overreaction Monday followed by my calm your Tuesday. I don't even remember the stats. It might be like, I think we ran for, I know Saquon ran for like 250 in the one game. Mailata was hot. Mailata, I mean, the personality that man has, the talent, the athleticism, the voice of an angel. Obscenities sound better. Obscenities sound better in all, well, not all, but most accents, okay? I love that Mailata doubled down and invited everyone else to just run the play. Yeah, exactly. It's like, go run it. Go for it. Go for it. Let's see what you can do. But they won't, and they can't. I love Jordan Mailata. Jordan Mailata is just a awesome individual, a supremely talented football player, great person, and just the perfect personality for this city. It's great. I love it. It's something desperately needed by this city, for sure, to have a personality like him. Love it. I love it. I do. But anyway, what's on deck? Okay. There's no Phillies game tonight, I don't believe, so we don't got that. Tomorrow we'll be talking keys to victory, keys to the Eagles-Rams, predictions, Eagles-Rams, and all the NFL games tomorrow on this show. Hopefully we get more information on the Eagles' injuries and stuff like that today during practice. I did do some notes for the game already. I think it'll surprise you what I'm predicting. I have an idea for what I'm predicting. I think it'll surprise you what my prediction is for the game. Because I'm not overreacting and panicking. I'm not worried like others are. I know one person that would not be ostracized for using PEDs. I mean, maybe. Calling out my widow's peak? Come on now. You know, with my anniversary being yesterday, I saw a lot of pictures from my wedding from 19 years ago. And I don't realize how much my hairline has gone back until you start looking at pictures from almost 20 years ago. It's gotten worse. And I need a haircut. And when I cut my hair short, it gets even worse. It's more noticeable. As they say, I don't got a 4-head anymore. I got a 5-head bordering 6-head. If somehow Lane gets pinched again, I don't think people will gaff anymore. It's probably right. Phil has, see, I beat you to the joke, okay? It's one of the greatest lines in a bad movie right there. You ain't getting a 4-head, you got a 5-head. Do you know what I'm talking about? What movie I'm talking about? One of my favorite dumb comedies, okay? action comedies, underrated, kind of buddy cop thing. They weren't cops really. Such a great movie. Eva Mendes is in that. Oh, she's so hot. I love her. You guys know what movie I'm talking about now? I love it. Whenever it's on, I have to watch it. One great flick right there. Anyway, I think it's time to get this wrapped up for the day. Got to go pick the wife's car up from the mechanic shop. Her car's pretty much shot and destroyed, but we'll run it till it dies completely. And then we'll buy a new one. Anyway, so guys, if you haven't liked, if you haven't shared, if you haven't subscribed, please do all those things. Final poll questions. Offense is going to be the main key factor. If it isn't Goodfellas or Godfather, I wouldn't know. It's definitely not either of those two movies. The movie I'm referencing, when I say forehead, and you got to say it like that, forehead. You don't got no forehead. You got a forehead. It's one all about the Benjamins. Google it. Dumb movie that I just absolutely love. Love that movie. It's such a dumb movie that just makes me laugh every time it's on TV. Guys, we're going to wrap it up right there with a good reference to All About the Benjamins. But everybody have a great Thursday. It's going to be a little warmer out there today. By the wife of Tesla, I don't think she wants another Tahoe. Her Tahoe is basically shot. It's got about 250,000 miles on it. Basically, we need an engine repair. The mechanic tinkered with it to get it running. And it might last another week. It might last another year. Who knows? So yeah, but we don't really have the money in the budget for a new car right now. And I really don't want a car payment. So we'll ride her car till it dies, and then we'll figure it out from there. But we won't be going Tesla. I know that for sure. Anyway, guys, the mechanic said it was like going to cost about $5,000 to $7,000 to repair her car. And it's a 2007 with 250,000 plus miles on it. It's worth $3,000. So we're not putting $7,000 to fix a $3,000 car. So yeah, unfortunate, but it is what it is. She's done well for us for 18 years. So time to start a GoFundMe page for a new car for the wife, I guess. Anyway, everybody have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow with Eagles-Rams preview. Go Birds! Bubbles up.